Okay, so here we go with another bootleg review, and this time what we have here, in case you couldn't tell, this is Love Letter. Now, I bought this for about $4. I don't have a retail box to compare against, but I'm going to show you some pictures side by side on top of this, and then we'll see what your $4 gets you. Let's start with the bag. This is very generic. You see these black bags quite a bit on Chinese merchandise in general. So for instance, I've got another one here which is pretty much exactly the same. This was another cheap piece of rubbish from some Chinese seller online. It's supposed to record video, it doesn't work, absolute garbage. The bag is actually quite nice though. However, this one does not compare with the retail pack. The retail pack had a nice red engraved or embroidered love letter on it, and that was quite nice. However, I have heard online that the drawstring on the retail pack isn't very good. This one seems fine. So let's have a look inside. So before we go inside this bag, I am going to beg you to hit like, hit subscribe, hit share. I'm a new YouTuber and I'd love to keep doing these reviews for you. So do any of those things, that would be fantastic. Thank you. And so let's go inside. There isn't very much to Love Letter. All we have is a bag, some cards in a small tuck box, and some tokens. Let's start with the box itself. What they've done here is just taken the back of the cards and they've scanned it in, put it there and there, and they've used a very cheap sort of looking bleed bit from the cards, and we'll talk about that later. The box itself, there's very little to talk about. It's hard to get into, it's very small. I can barely get my finger in there to get the cards. So as you can see, this is now a bit damaged. It's not going to last very long. If I'd done this every time, that would have been much better for it. However, I'm not a smart man, so we have all the cards there. We have the rule cards, which is great. Difference here being that you only get 2 with the bootleg, where you would have 4 in the retail version. The rule cards are a little bit interesting. You can see that they've just scanned these in. However, the colours are wildly inconsistent between one and the other. The rules themselves have quite decent blacks, quite a strong yellow down there. And these ones, they're more of a red black, which is not as good, and not a very strong yellow down the side. I mean, if we turn that over, these two are the same. These two are the same, but these two are dramatically different. I'm not sure how that actually happens. I assume they've used the same source, but for $4 you expect at least some laziness. So let's have a look at the cards. The cards themselves are very thin. If you give them any force, they will start to bend. I don't know whether you're going to be able to see this, but they scratch very easily. Down there is quite a big scratch already. Yeah, there you go. And that's the same for quite a few cards now. I mean, we've played 5 or 6 times with this. And this one also has quite a big scratch down the middle. These cards are not going to last very long. They don't feel great. I've taken to sleeving these now because I do want to play a few more times, and then probably get the retail version. I often see this as a little bit of a demo version. If you like it, then buy the real game. So the artwork is not too bad. The colours are fine, but what is interesting is they've obviously scanned in a real card, but on the real ones, the printing goes all the way to the edge. I guess that they've scanned it in, they've scaled it down, they've put a little bit of a bleed around the edge, just something generic there, so they don't have to pay as much attention to their printing processes. It doesn't matter if they're not straight, it doesn't matter if they're not central. You can't really tell, they are quite uniform, so I'm not sure why they've done that with quite such a big bleed. Similarly on the back, what they've done is they've scanned in the retail artwork, they've cropped it down slightly. I mean, on the retail you can see more of on the left and on the right of these images, so that's a bit disappointing. You know, overall not great, but for $4 it's not too bad. And then we get to the tokens, and I'm quite pleased with these, because in the retail box all you get is just a square, like the old sort of pandemic wooden cubes, a red square. And these actually fit the theme a lot better than a red cube. You've got a little heart, a jewel looking like thing, with a silver background. They're a little bit small, yes, however you don't really need to touch them during the game, just wants to take yours at the end of a turn. So they perform very well, and they're actually better than the original. If they were a little bit bigger, that would be much better. But we can't have everything for $4. They do come in a very bad, just little plastic bag here. It was just tied at the top, not even a baggie in this one, which is pretty poor. So that is Love Letter, the bootleg. There's not a lot to say about it. It's not too bad. I mean, I will play with this one. Unlike Jaipur, which I absolutely could not even touch, this one's fine. I've played a few games with it, and it's quite enjoyable. So what I would say is buy this if you have to. If you don't have enough money for the retail version, or you just want to try the game with all the artwork instead of a print and play or something like that. What is nice about this one is it's got the AEG artwork. There's a few different versions of Love Letter out there, and I think this one is the best theme, the best artwork, and it's even got the sort of later print version, because you can see these stars on it which weren't in the first run. In case you didn't know, the number of stars is just how many of these type are in the pack. That's quite nice to see, and then you don't have to keep consulting back to here. That's good, I like that. So yeah, this is perfectly playable. I don't not recommend this, unless obviously you've got a moral issue against bootlegs. So thanks for watching, guys. Hit subscribe, hit like, hit share. Thank you very much, and I'll see you again.